It's time to go qualifying mode. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Miami. After last year's absolutely amazing race and a former pole position awarder of Kimi Antonelli, can he go back to back this year for sprint qualifying? We'll have to wait and find out. Come the sprint, 19 laps, 5.412 kilometers, 3.363 miles, 3.5 meters in elevation, and the active aero zones will be down the front straight and the over and the back straight as well. The overtake detection point will be just after turn 17. We saw that in free practice a little bit earlier on today. But loads of action still to come here for sprint qualifying. We're just about 2 or 3 minutes away from the start of this session. It's time to get ready for sprint qualifying. And by the way, I will be doing this whole entire session. But yeah, to give you more updates on what's happened since free practice, let's hand it up to the wall feed.
This weekend's Mercedes, giving a big upgrade package on the next one until Montreal. Marcus, where's the field of it?
Unquestionably, yes, they look very close. We didn't see the full potential of Mercedes, as you said, in the extended 1.5 hour only practice session of the weekend. But now we'll find out what they've got. But it's so hot out there. The track temperature is still well over 50 degrees. And there's been a lot of action on track as well with Formula 2 and other support races that will have changed the nature of grip. That will increase the grip of this temporary racetrack. So the drivers will have to go out, find out where it's at, how much grip there is, and drive to it. And they don't get too many chances with the way that the tyres work in the sprint qualifying. You can't afford a big lockup or a spin or a big mistake.
Talking of mistakes, you were on trackside, you were seeing the cars up close and personal. We were watching the commentary box. The tweaks that have been made since we last went racing still seem to give us some proper drivers on the limit, some proper drivers on the edge, and some proper mistakes being made.
Yeah, there's a surplus of power over grip in quite a lot of areas on the track, and we smoothed out the power delivery with the latest changes. There'll be more to come as well, but wow, they're going to have to take off out of the corner, and that's in the dry. A lot of drivers, if it is wet on Sunday, if it is wet and it's forecast, we're going to see some chaos, and I'll be a lot happier to be in the commentary box than pressing the throttle, because they've got so much instant power and torque with the battery in the engine, if you like, as well. But anyway, that's irrelevant, because right now it's bone dry, it's hot, and it's sprint quality.
Charles Leclerc.
Indeed it is. It's time for sprint qualifying here. After what was a 90-minute free practice session, we sort of learnt quite a bit in 90 minutes. You wouldn't think we would have, but we did. Let me tell you that much. We learnt quite a bit. 10 minutes to 1, and qualifying now gets underway. Actually, should I say that? It's officially 4 o'clock, and qualifying will get a green light. It is on at the end of the pit lane, and drivers not deciding to instantly head out of the garage. You can see there Charles Leclerc getting himself ready to head straight out here in qualifying. You can see there the Visa Cash App RB team as well deciding to head out. But it's very much a standstill sort of situation going on at the moment. You can see the Alpine team out there as well. I think teams are waiting for the pit lane. Dead quiet. Dead quiet. You can see all the teams, they're getting ready for what will be a fast and furious qualifying session here for sprint qualifying. There is Lewis Hamilton getting himself ready in the car, but it's dead quiet.
That's why I think we've got a green light, Crofty. I'm not seeing anybody out. They're all waiting for the first person to go out. Clean the track up a bit. And here comes Oscar. To give the targets of this qualifying session, the first part, all on the medium tyres. Track temperature laps in it. And that's why they're waiting.
Yeah, it could well be. We've got the same idea as Lando, who was just pulling out of the pits, but will be on the track. There they are, line astern. And it always looks silly, doesn't it? 22 cars and traffic's an issue. So let's all go out at the same time because they've all got the same sort of knowledge, experience, algorithms, what have you. And also, they're a little bit hair trigger as well, aren't they? One goes out and let's all get on the racetrack. So they'll sit down there. They can't tick over for quite a long time. And drivers will trundle out of the pits when they feel like it, as long as they're not blocking to the other. So just to remind you, in SQ1, Sprint Qualifying 1, you must use a new set of medium compound yellow mark tyres, the same for Sprint Qualifying 2, a new set and a brand new set of the red marked soft tyres for Sprint Qualifying 3. So that's what we're going to see. And that's why you can't afford mistakes.
And that is very true, as Oliveira in the Haas, the highest driver in the championship outside of the three big teams of Ferrari and of McLaren and the championship leaders at Mercedes. 7th place. It's been a brilliant start to the season for him, even despite the big crash, the 50G impact crash that he had in Suzuka during that race. Here's Kimi Antonelli trying to get out of the garage. George decided he was going to go first.
The psychological moments between the two current championship contenders.
Yeah, I think George is just of the view. Right, I'm in a great position. I'm in the car that could win me a championship. I'm focused on that. My teammate is very good. He's going to push me all the way, but I'm happy and comfortable. That's from the outside. Quite how happy and comfortable he is on the inside, I'm not sure.
Kimi had made some mistakes as a teenage rookie, but his pace in the final stint of the Japanese Grand Prix was enlightening, to say the least. Would have caught everybody's attention, not least George Russell's. It must be said, of course, that without the safety car, George would probably have won the Japanese Grand Prix, if not Oscar Piastri would have. It certainly wasn't going to be Kimi Antonelli. The safety car played into his hands very nicely. So we have to remember there are many factors to this.
Yes, he might have been the fastest man on the track in and around that safety car, but even he admitted afterwards that it came at the right moment for him. It's not harmed Lando Norris, the safety car here over the years. Of course, that maiden win that he got here in 2024, I think was McLaren's second win in only 11 seasons. They've had 20 wins since then, and he's setting off then on his first flying lap of this track. So Martin, take us through in turn 4 onwards.
Yeah, it gets really busy. 4, 5, 6, and 7 and 8 at the bottom of the racetrack. It's like a snake, isn't it? Just relentlessly come at you these corners. And it's a clumsy little tightening apex there. You ride the curve. Now it's flat out between the walls as you head. It's effectively quite a long sort of mid-straight there. And you'll consume as much of your battery as you can get away with. Because now, in this little Mickey Mouse section, it's a place where you gain and lose a lot more time than in some of the. We've got somebody in trouble out on the racetrack as well. And a really tricky section, and a little hop, skip, and a jump over the chicane there. And it looks like Lance Stroll is stranded up against the wall in 16. Very easy to hit that. And then there is Lance Stroll. So unless he can get that running, and that is going to compromise. Lando Norris has to lift for that one as well. The orange flashing lights are saying it's a safety light stranded car, and that has absolutely compromised Lando Norris. Did it compromise Oscar Piastri behind him?
Not quite. I would imagine not. The clock's still running on Oscar Piastri. Actually, I've just seen him come through, and he didn't look like he was going that fast. Worst possible time for Lando Norris to arrive on the scene there, because he's already lifted, he's already backed off, and just as he gets to the corner, Lance Stroll's got going again. But that will be another lap, but at least he's on the medium tyre, so there should be more laps in it. But first chance kind of wasted through no fault of Lando Norris. You've just got to get into the top 16 in this session to get yourself going. Lewis Hamilton goes second fastest behind his teammate Charles Leclerc. SQ1 in China, by the way, both Williams, both Aston Martins, both Cadillacs were knocked out. Let's see if it's the same this weekend.
But once again, then Lewis about a third of a second shy of Charlie Leclerc in the other Ferrari. So some work to do there. And Antonelli pops a really good lap time in.
Yeah, only a couple of hundredths off Charles Leclerc. So obviously the muscle memory working well for him, and he was pretty rapid on the hard tyre a little bit earlier on today. As I said earlier, didn't get the chance on the soft tyre. Here comes Max Verstappen. You'll notice very briefly the active aero activating on that Red Bull. Watch for that and the Ferrari. It's that 180-degree flip Macarena flippy flappy wing. The Red Bulls go so high. That's got to be the biggest gap we've ever seen in a rear wing.
Yeah, it looks bizarre when it's flipping around the other side as well, when you're out on the racetrack. So, what happened to George Russell? We didn't see anything as such. Did he get caught up in yellow flags? But that's an alarming lap time for him in terms of slower than he would ideally want it. He's 1.1 off his teammate Antonelli. So, somewhere around that lap, there was a drama for George Russell.
This is car number 30, Liam Lawson. And that's the lock-up into turn 1. And Liam Lawson hasn't got a lap time on the board because I think he dived straight back into the pit lane at the end of that lap. And this is Lance Stroll. Oh, and that massive lock-up. And why he found himself.
Yeah, front time like a 50 pence piece, if you know what 50 pence piece looks like in the UK. And that's, I'd be surprised if he didn't go through the canvas for that one because such a high speed and long lock-up.
That rather looked like one of those mechanical problems under braking rather than driver error, to be honest, because it happened quite a long way back.
Indeed, and the same with Liam Lawson because for your outside front, there's such cunning geometry on these cars now and unusual sort of setups that for your outside tyre to lock going into corners, not that usual, but of course for Lance Stroll it was the inside tyre.
Two McLarens a bit out of sync with the rest here because they're on a flying lap. Lando Norris with a 30.1, pretty decent for the first sector. His teammate Oscar Piastri also on a flying lap and only 0.08 of a second outside a decent time that he needs, albeit slower than Lando Norris.
I drew one of these things last year. I don't know how they see the curves with accuracy. Look, that's the sort of view. The human eye smooths out some of those bumps, but that is exactly the letterbox that they're looking through at those kind of speeds. And Norris flying again, this looking very, very good for McLaren.
Certainly is. They might be a bit out of sync, but they need to get these back laps in as well after their first laps were compromised. So far, so good. Big breaking point now for Oscar Piastri to try and pick Lando Norris is on his way to the line, and this should be the fastest time of the lot, and is with a 1:28.7 by half a second from Charles Leclerc. Piastri's got his braking absolutely spot on too, and he makes his way now through turn 19, crosses the line, and goes second fastest, half a second down on his teammate, who is always beaten in a sprint qualifying here in Miami.
That's a big statement from Lando Norris. Lance Stroll out, no time set, won't get through, of course, then to sprint qualifying too. But that's a huge statement for McLaren, their upgrades, and Lando Norris there. That's a really key moment in this season.
Yes, Lance Stroll out could be a mechanical issue, could be the 50 pence piece shaped tyre that he's got there as well, because you can't change your tyres. You get that one set for this qualifying session, of which there are now less than 2 minutes to go. And along with Lance Stroll, Liam Lawson and Arvid Lindblad in the Racing Bulls, Franco Colapinto, Fernando Alonso, his Aston Martin teammate, and Valtteri Bottas. They are the bottom 6. Sergio Perez finds himself in 14th for a Cadillac team on home turf. Tarmac, if you would rather, and if he can stay in 14th and get through to Q2, that would be some achievements for the newest team on the grid. We'll keep an eye on that.
I don't know who does Racing Bulls livery, but I really like it. I think it was even better in Japan, actually, the white one.
Yes.
I really like that one. You don't like this one, do you? Think it looks like what, like a high vis shirt or something?
That was one tweet I heard.
But I do like for me, the ultimate livery was Ayrton Senna in a day glow in white McLaren, shall we say, with his bright yellow crash helmet. Was the most iconic colour scheme ever.
Yes, I do prefer the Japanese version of the special livery, but doesn't matter how it looks, it needs to be fast. And for Lindblad and Lawson, it needs to be faster as Colapinto goes up but still in that bottom 6. And there are less than a minute to go for him and everyone else out there.
Talking of it, of course, May Day 1994. This is the anniversary of losing the wonderful, great man.
We mentioned it earlier, in FP1, 32 years since that tragic weekend at Imola, where we remember Ayrton Senna and Roland Ratzenberger as well. 2 fabulous drivers lost to us, sadly, at the Imola racetrack. Arvid Lindblad down to the hairpin, the young rookie, the latest young rookie to enter into Formula One. He's made qualifying pretty special for him so far this season. Goes 12 fastest, could be enough to get him through into the next part of sprint qualifying, but it might be touch and go. Esteban Ocon moves up only in the 17th. He could find himself out. Sergio Perez is back in the garage. His qualifying's over. Ollie Behrman goes 10th fastest. That's good enough for him. Perez now is usurped by Nico Hulkenberg as George Russell crosses the line only in 6th place.
Still miles off lap time wise for George Russell. Look at that, 9/10 off fastest.
Isaac Hadjar goes 9th fastest. Valtteri Bottas is on a personal best lap. Alex Albon's on a personal best. Nico Hulkenberg goes into 9th place. So Valtteri Bottas should be the next to cross the line. Comes over the line now, 20th, and he's out too for Cadillac. Ahead, though, of Alonso, who's on a lap, and Lance Stroll, who is definitely out. We're on board now with Gabriel Bortoleto. Pick your braking spot at the end of the fastest pack of the part of the track. I hope that you don't go too deep, but it was just a bit unstable under braking.
Yeah, he was wrestling that one, wasn't he? And, well, if Lando Norris's time was a statement, so is Charles Leclerc right up there behind him. So at the moment, very much advantage McLaren and Ferrari. Let's see as Alex Albon goes over the line and doesn't make it through.
No, he does make it through at the expense of Liam Lawson. It was Albon or Lawson who were the two that were scrapping away there. And, well, sadly for Liam Lawson, he is just the wrong end of a better lap from Alex Albon there. If both Williams went out in SQ1 in China, both Williams are through to SQ2 this weekend. Lance Stroll never sadly got going for him. Fernando Alonso also at Aston Martin, 2 slowest cars again here in Miami. Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez also out. Riding on board here with Esteban Ocon into turn 1. That's a major lock-up.
Both the entire front axle locked up there.
Oh dear, and we've seen a lot of problems at that corner in practice carrying on into this qualifying session.
It's tough for the drivers because obviously a lot of the slowing down is done by the electric motor, so you don't get a completely linear sort of braking effect. Yeah, the Aston Martin continue to be
Fernando Galan.
Yeah, they've not progressed from the first phase of qualifying.
Welcome in, Bello.
This season, both of their cars out. Perez and Bottas out. Excuse me, Ocon with that lock-up out. And Lawson just pipped by Alex Albon at the end, joining the 6, putting their feet up early.
Yeah, I'm going good. I'm going good, my friend. It has been a while. It has certainly been a while. It's been quite a long while, actually, to be completely honest with you. I think it was since Italy last year since I've last seen you. Since the Italian Grand Prix. And that was like September last year, so that was a long time ago. Let's send it down to the pit wall.
Although he had to do it on his second attempt, no fault of his because of those yellow flags.
Yeah, Lando's been very strong since the first lap so far today. So, as you know, we got to hit the reset button now and do it again. And, yeah, good to see McLaren's at the top. But let's see. Q2 here to come.
Ferraris are right with you there. Zach, we're sandbagging this morning, or because that looked incredibly fast.
No, Lando got blocked on his good lap earlier this morning, but I mean, there's nothing between us and Ferrari, and I suspect Mercedes has yet more to come.
It's like Formula E.
Hopefully, we'll close up a little bit.
You brought a big upgrade this weekend. Ferrari brought a big upgrade. Red Bull have brought a big upgrade. Is this the chance for the 3 teams, and you particularly, as we're talking to you, to make gains on Mercedes, who are waiting until Montreal for their next big upgrade?
Hope so. It's just one race. We all have more stuff coming, but yeah, I mean, what
Even Formula E's better, not gonna lie. True.
Let's see what Mercedes has coming. But yeah, if we all can tighten up here a little bit, continue to put
At least they don't have super clipping. Yep, exactly. Stupid super clipping.
Just a little bit to find here and there. He's not been particularly happy with any lap that he's kind of done yet. So he tends to find it when it counts. So I think he's just got a little bit more left in him.
Thanks ever so much indeed, Zach. The helicopters coming in, maybe to take some away from the track a bit earlier. Best way to get downtown, I'm sure. And, well, probably quicker than trying to clear this traffic jam in the pit.
Traffic jam in the pit lane. Just like we saw in SQ1, cars trying to file their way out onto pit lane, as you Americans call it, pit lane as us Aussies call it. But people trying to find their space out on pit lane here, this is becoming definitely a problem. Well, the changes they made over the break seem decent, only clipping about 30 Ks. Yeah, but I don't. They've only done it because of the incident with Behrman and Colapinto. We also call it pit lane sometimes. They've only done it because the incident with Behrman and Colapinto, I think it was last year, last round at Japan. So it's the only reason why they've done it. But again, I'm not the biggest fan of these new regulations. I'm not the world's biggest fan of these regulations, to be completely honest with you. But yeah, I suppose wait and find out if they come to hand, if they're good. Like, but yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about at this point. Yeah, I've lost it. I've absolutely lost it. That's what commentary does to you. I've just finished streaming 3 other categories. My voice is like dead meat at this point. But yeah, Kimi Antonelli became the youngest driver to get a pole position award last year in 2025. If you take a look at the replay, this is Max Verstappen. It's almost like being parked on the M1 motorway. Hey, that's not safe. That will be a penalty. It's like being parked on the motorway in downtown Miami. That's literally what it is. But yeah. They've got to make something out of it, surely. And yeah. I mean, I just have no words. I genuinely have no words. I genuinely do not have any words to define this. Yeah, I genuinely don't. I love seeing an onboard lap. They end up cutting to the outside camera angle at 130. Love seeing an onboard lap. They end up cutting to the outside camera angle at 130. Yeah. That's typical. That's typical Sky Sports. That's a typical F1. That's a typical F1 move. That is very much a typical F1 move. Kim Antonelli now making his run through the chicane to turn 14, 15, and 16. Make the run through turn 7. I haven't even opened my book yet. Probably should do that. Not Bahrain. Not Imola. Not Monaco. Miami. There we go. Found it. Oh yeah. Also, you gained a good amount of subscribers since I've last seen you. Congrats. Thank you so much. Yeah, I've hit 200 subs. Which thank you so much for that, by the way. Purple through both sectors at the moment is Kimi Antonelli, 129.242. Very nicely done. Gabriel Bortoleto, purple through the second sector. As Liam Lawson there jumps out of his car. Position 17 just missed out on Q2. Bortoleto, purple through the second sector. For the moment, a bit sideways. That Audi looks to be struggling under braking there into the hairpin as Gabriel Bortoleto now makes his run to the line. P3, Max Verstappen. I'll get to your message in a minute, Belu. As Max Verstappen now, purple through the second sector. Leclerc as well, purple through the first sector, is now making his run through towards turn 17 and out the other side through turn 18 and in the process way up the curb as he makes his run towards the final corner. Max Verstappen now, 1 minute 30, 1 minute 29, I can't speak, 1 minute 28.9, Charles Leclerc purple for the first sector, personal best through the second sector. I heard in the pre-show Karun Chandok saying these cars are being pushed so much more than what they were before heading into Japan. What does Charles Leclerc do? 0.4 of a second faster, 128.4. That is a good enough time to put him to the top. What does Lewis Hamilton do as he makes his run to the line? P2, 1 minute 28.8. Oscar Piastri purple through the second sector. Lando Norris personal best through the first sector now, making his run towards now as he burns all the battery all the way down this back straight. Turn 17 now, under brakes, hits the apex very nicely. And that car seems to be very stable under braking. Fast up, all the way up through the gears, into gear 8 now, and through the final corner. Oscar Piastri P2, 36 thousandths of a second off pole position. Lando Norris round the final corner. Antonelli struggling with so much re-locking with that car for Kimi Antonelli. Lando Norris now making his run to the line. P7 only after a dominant SQ1 session. Doesn't seem to be that way here in SQ2. Not ideal, if I tell you that much. Too early championship predictions, but I have Kimi winning. What about you? To be honest, if you were to ask me that question at Japan, I would have said Kimi. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I've come to the point where I'm sort of saying I'm not sure. I'm not sure. One part of my brain wants to say Lando Norris again. I don't know why. One part of my brain wants to say Lando Norris. The other part wants to say Kimi. It is so weird. One part of my brain wants to say Kimi. One part of my brain wants to say Lando Norris, which is very strange. I don't know where I've got Lando Norris from. Kimi Antonelli now, as Speak of the Devil, makes his run towards turn 17 here on the replay. Bit deep and slight left front lock-up. Actually, it wasn't really a lock-up. It's more or less just the fact that he was deep and it was way up the curb on the exit. See there. A slight lock-up there on the left front of that medium tyre. And tries to exert himself onto another lap there. Well, Kimi Antonelli's actually made his way back towards pit lane there. Yeah, fair. The new upgrades and changes the teams have made every week is more unpredictable than the average American diet. Yeah, McLaren have got some pretty significant upgrades. I've got an upgrade that was due to come on for this round anyway, either way, even without the break. So they've got an upgrade on for this round, which seems to be working for Lando Norris. Very quick in the early part of practice, very quick in SQ1, over a 1-lap pace. And Lando, on those times, probably would have gone to the top by 0.2 of a second over Charles Leclerc if he didn't go deep into the hairpin. So they've got upgrades on, McLaren. They've got an upgrade on for this round. They've got an upgrade on for next round when they come into Canada in Vancouver, which should be quite good indeed. So, and then that's it. They've got no more upgrades for like a month or something like that. So it's quite a big gap for McLaren, but we'll see what happens. I'm not sure if they'll bring any more upgrades on after that, but we'll have to wait and see. 2 minutes to go left in this session. Cross the fingers and hope to die that there hasn't been a red flag yet. So far, so good. If you are enjoying this stream, then make sure to hit like button, subscribe. Would very much help out. Do you think the race is happening on Sunday with the predicted lightning and rain? 100% not. I'm going to say 100%. I'm going to start stream on Monday afternoon, and I will see 3 hours of Sky Sports F1 yabbering. I reckon that's what'll happen. Because again, my lazy ass is not getting up at 1:30 in the morning here in Australia to watch the Grand Prix when I can just watch it on Monday afternoon. So I reckon I'll go to stream and I'll listen to Sky Sports F1 yabber for 3 hours. 100%. I reckon that's what's going to happen. Yeah. So I reckon that's just what's going to happen. To be completely honest with you, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I feel like it's not going to happen. As much as, yeah. And then the other thing is you've got a 3-week gap between Miami and Canada. So, yeah. Got to wait another freaking 4 weeks, nearly, for another F1 round after this. So, practically, it's another bloody spring break again. Practically heading into another spring break after this round, I think. So, it's 2-3 weeks between a round, which is insane. 3 weeks, actually. Bortoleto now starts his final lap here in SQ2 as he makes his run towards now the final corner. Towards the first corner now through turn 3, turn 4. And out the other side, Bortoleto very strong down the back straight through turn 14, 15, and even turn 13. I think ever since that F4 death in the rain, FIA have been so cautious with rain conditions. Maybe it's just me, or I feel like they wait. Yeah, they do. The only time that they will run, and the thing is, this is what really confuses me. As Bortoleto continues on with his lap here, Leclerc crosses the line, does not improve. But the thing that really confuses me is the fact that that they have wet tyres. They have full wet tyres. They have full wets, and they don't use them. They don't use the full wet tyres. They only use the intermediate tyres when the track is damp. They need the track to be damp to actually go racing. Oh, I just don't get that. I don't get their logic. It's become to the end of SQ2 here. I really don't get their logic with that. They have full wet tyres and they don't use them. I don't get my logic with that. It's really strange. Bortoleto a bit deep into that penultimate corner there as he's way up the curb on the exit. As he tries to now file the power down towards the final corner. P11. Bortoleto does not scrape through into Q2 or Q3 in that matter. George Russell now makes his run towards turn 19 and round out the other sides. What does George Russell do? P4. So, no improvement there. I think a new rule could implement that they start the race regardless on wets and pace until they feel like visibility is safe enough. Yeah, exactly. They start the race on wets. They have to start the race on wets. And then when the drivers feel like it's safe enough, they go to inters. Plus, yeah, like it's silly. Again, I do get that these drivers do have like a lot more power than what they did in the other cars, but still, you've got treaded tires there for a reason. You've got wet tires that will help with traction. So I just don't see that. It's very strange. It's very strange. Yeah, it's very strange indeed. But the chance of rain for tomorrow's sprint race is not as high. For the sprint tomorrow, it's not as high in terms of chances of rain. So that's a good sign. Charles Leclerc, though, crossed the line. Finishes P1 here in SQ2. Very nicely done. Very, very nicely done indeed as we build up to the third part of qualifying. SQ3 not too far away. New lights and less downforce also would improve. Yeah,
but,
exactly.
I think both our cars have a shot here.
That's not really your department, Zach, but do they give it a little tickle front wing? Then they'll be going to the soft tyres now. Is there much of a change?
Well, I didn't hear any change, but that may have been pre-planned. As you say, when the change compounds, sometimes they do give the front wing a little tickle, as you said.
Yeah, and in terms of soft tyre runs from earlier, Zach, what were the drivers and engineers saying about how the soft tyre interacts in these temperatures as opposed to the medium?
I think it's definitely good for a lap. It's going to be a very good race tire, but I think for a lap it's okay. 2, not so sure.
We shall see. Thanks a lot, Zach, and best of luck for this
qualifying
session. Mercedes have been...
Now, completely off topic here, but in F2, they were saying that the super soft tyres wouldn't last a lap. They wouldn't last one lap, the super soft tyres. Of course, F2 this weekend running the super soft tyre and the medium tyre. They're saying that the super soft tyre will not last more than 1 or 2 laps in race condition. So just imagine how short on life these soft tyres will be come the sprint. That's what they were saying in the F2 qualifying session, which blew my mind. That literally they probably won't last 2 or 3 laps, those super soft tyres. Very strange. And then the other thing is, how are these soft tyres going to work? Like, you've got the soft tyre, which, by the way, you would think would be used in the sprint in a everyday other situation. You'd think would be used in the sprint. But it won't be used in the sprint. It won't be used in the sprint. Normally it would be in this situation to probably try and save tyres for the race. But you can't. So what do? They only have 2 sets of hards for this weekend. So what do? Do you use a set of mediums and really only have 1 set of mediums left for the race? You've only got 1 set of, I mean, actually, you've got 5 sets of mediums, which you use 3 in qualifying, possibly 2 in practice. So you really don't have that many tyres left. You've got 1 set of hards that are brand new plus the soft tyres as well. So it's interesting. So tyres going to be a big play, but again, I don't think the Grand Prix is going to go ahead. So there's no point in really talking about tyres at this point. So I don't think the Grand Prix is going to go ahead, to be completely honest with you. I really don't. But there you go. There's some tyre data for you this weekend. So watch out for the F2 race, because that will be interesting, the F2 sprint race. So keep an eye out for that when that happens. And of course F1 as well. So what the F1 teams will be doing is they would have just watched the F2 qualifying session that happened just before this, and they would have seen the degradation that would have happened. Do you reckon Max is retiring after this year? To be honest, yes. Yes. He's going to go to GT3 racing. He's going to go to GT3. You think Max Verstappen, he's just qualified himself in Nürburgring 24 hours, which is absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. He's just qualified himself for the Nürburgring 24 hours. Absolutely insane. Speaking of Nürburgring, lest we forget, rest in peace. I can't remember the name of who died at that monstrous crash back at the Nordschleife a few weeks ago. But yeah, rest in peace. Rest in peace, my friend. Rest in peace. So yeah, but Max qualified himself for the Nürburgring 24 hours. Very nicely done. Very nicely done indeed. Here's we take a little replay of what happened. What is this? Yeah. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, my friend. I'm not gonna try and pronounce the name. Do not even try and let me pronounce that name. I've already butchered too many names today. Too many names have been butchered today. I'm not going to try and butcher that one. But rest in peace. Rest in peace. But yeah, qualifying now. Third part of qualifying getting underway for sprint qualifying here this weekend. But yeah, already qualified himself is Max Verstappen. So yes, he's going to retire out of F1. Bro was driving a GT3 at 65 years old. Absolutely mental. Yeah, that is insane. He was. He was an insane man. But that is so unfortunate. That is so unfortunate. That is so unfortunate. Wow. That is so unfortunate. I heard about it when I woke up that morning. It was insane. That is so unfortunate. That's so unfortunate. Rest in peace. But yeah, I reckon Max will retire at the end of this year. He will retire out of F1. He will go to GT3. And I have a feeling he will go and possibly even race hypercars. LMP2, LMP3 cars. Might even compete in the European Le Mans Series. As well, I have a feeling he's got so much on his plate, Max Verstappen. He really does. He's got so many things left that he can do. And in my personal opinion, he's not enjoying F1. He's not enjoying it. Like, he said it at the end of Australia. It's like driving a Formula E car. It literally is. What pissed me off the most is, well, I was looking forward for the footage, but yeah. They won't show any replays. They won't, because a driver died. Which, like, at least show us Like, I don't know. Like, it's just silly. It's silly how TV works these days. Like, you need to show a replay. I have a feeling. You need onboard footage. Even show the onboard footage. I don't know. There has to be some sort of way. Retire 2027. Yep. Definitely. Definitely next year. End of this year will be his last year. He won't confirm it until probably Las Vegas, I reckon. Las Vegas. He won't confirm it until like Las Vegas or something. He'll wait all year. He'll build suspense about it, and then he will announce it at like Las Vegas or something. So yeah, battle for pole position now in the final part of SQ3 here. With just over 2 minutes to go. George Russell now starts a lap 30.2 through the first sector. Here, Lewis Hamilton as well on a set of the soft tyres. As I mentioned about 5 minutes ago, on a set of the soft tyres now are all of these drivers. But yeah, that is insane. Bring back Yuki Goat Noda. Yuki Goat Noda. Like, he won't come back. I don't reckon. Like, I don't reckon he will. I don't reckon he will, to be completely honest with you. He's a reserve driver. I don't know who he's I think he's a reserve driver for Red Bull. But, like, yeah. I don't reckon he'll come back, to be completely honest with you. He's a reserve driver. I reckon that's... I mean, I turn 17 next year. Possibly. Lando Norris now making his run to the line, 128.4 there. I just need my super license points. Lando Norris now making his run towards the line. George Russell at the top of the session. At the moment, what does Lewis Hamilton do? 128.6. They're about 2 to 3 tenths off the pace of George Russell. What does Lando Norris do? Is this good enough for pole position? 127.8 by nearly 7 tenths of a second. Lando Norris grabs pole position, but is it good enough? Can Charles Leclerc knock him off his table of pole position? Can Charles Leclerc do it? No, he cannot. 3 tenths off the pace. 128.1 and 30 seconds to go. I got 3K iRating on iRacing for Formula Car. That's got to count for some points. Look, 3K iRating. That's yep. That'll work. That'll definitely work. That's definitely gonna work. Max Verstappen now 6 tenths off the pace through the second sector. Oscar Piastri making his run through now the chicane. What can Oscar Piastri do? 2 tenths off. He's about 2 tenths off his teammate here. Charles Leclerc goes up into position 2. Kimi Antonelli, at the moment, personal best through the first sector. He's on par with Lando Norris. What does Max Verstappen do? Fastest through the final sector, but it's not good enough. It's P3.5 a second off the pace. He actually found 2 tenths through that final sector there. So very nicely done. It's very hard to find time through that final sector. What can Oscar Piastri do as he makes his run to the line? Only P2. Lando Norris at this point might just grab pole position. And the only man that could stop him is Kimi Antonelli. And he's on par with Lando Norris. This is the battle for pole position for the sprints. 33.4 fastest through the second sector. He's on par with Lando Norris. This is going to be absolutely stunning. And Kimi Antonelli go back to back with pole positions here at Miami. Is this good enough? Through the final corner, Kimi Antonelli, no! He does not grab a second pole. It's going to be Lando Norris who will grab a pole position here for sprint qualifying for the Miami Grand Prix. The Pirelli pole position award. Lando Norris 127.8. Kimi Antonelli cannot go back to back with pole positions. Not through 2025. Not through 2026. But can he bag a sprint win? We'll have to wait and find out. It's going to be interesting. Wow. Lando Norris. That is a well-earned pole position. He looked quick. He very much looked quick throughout, to be honest, most of that session. SQ1, SQ2, and SQ3. He was up there or thereabouts. And I think McLaren are showing just what pace they have. They might just be faster than Mercedes at this point. Charles Leclerc making his run through now through the hairpin on a replay. And a bit sideways. Is that what cost him the time for pole position, possibly? I would like to think possibly. But what a lap from Lando Norris. That is a pole position. And a well-earned one. Number 1. That, yep. That, my friend, is a number 1, Lando Norris. Very nicely done. Not on home turf. Halfway across the world from home turf, but close enough. Lando Norris now getting weighted. Well, that's a pole position. Very nicely done there from Lando and Lewis Hamilton. Sorry, Charles Leclerc. And there's Lewis Hamilton. Now making his run towards what will be back towards the garage or the weighbridge, more or less. But yeah, that's unfortunate for Charles Leclerc, knowing that he possibly could have bagged a pole. He possibly could have. So could have this man, Oscar Piastri, his teammate. Is this about to be another McLaren fight? Possibly. Possibly. Miami Merchant, says Bellu. I don't know about that. Possibly more than a Miami Merchant. Possibly a Miami Masterclass for Lando Norris. If he continues the way he's going, it could be a real threat come Grand Prix Sunday. If, and I say this is a very, 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 very big if, the Grand Prix actually even goes ahead. So there you go. Lando Norris on pole position over Oscar Piastri and Kimi Antonelli. Sorry, not over Oscar Piastri. It's over Kimi Antonelli, then Oscar Piastri in position 3. We're going to get ready for the interviews, though. Lando Norris, he's on pole position. Let's end it up now. It's David Croft and Martin Brundle.
It wasn't a bad one by Bono, because he did get better of the track conditions.
Yeah. And once again, though, kept his head, didn't make mistakes. And Antonelli turning into the real deal, isn't he?
Certainly is. Championship leader, and we'll start on the front row. Behind Piastri and Leclerc on row 2, Verstappen and Russell. Well, we've seen incidents in the past when those two get together. For Max Verstappen, P5, 6/10 off the pace, kind of where Red Bull were before the little break. But I think Max a bit happier with the performance of the car.
I think so, but what they've done is move to where McLaren were.
Yeah.
And McLaren and Ferrari have moved on from that.
Stand still, you fall behind. That's what we say in this case.
Masterclass for turn 1, assuming Mercedes Turbo actually works.
And we are here with your sprint pole sitter, Lando Norris. Lando, you seem to like Miami a little bit. That was a pretty impressive run.
Yeah, was great. Perfect result for us. Nice way to reward the team. We got a lot of new upgrades on the car, so it's nice to feel some grip again, and nice to reward the guys and the girls that have put a lot of work into this. So, no, I've always loved Miami, honestly, both on and off the track. So it's a good result for us. Of course, just at the beginning of the weekend, still a long way to go, but nice to tick it off by doing this.
It's got to be nice to see that those upgrades really worked. I mean, we know you brought a lot to Miami, but the gap to Mercedes in those first few rounds was pretty big. Were you expecting to make this much gain on the Mercedes team?
It's tough to know. Every track's different, right? So we've known that this track is
Also,
always
just
been good
random
to us.
question out of the blue. Do you have an
But we
Outback
knew that what we were
Steakhouse
bringing
in
was
Australia?
we do a good step in our hands. It's nice to
I think we do, somewhere.
estimations are proved correct.
Yes, we do.
And the team deserve that.
Yes,
They
we
put a lot of work into
Thank
all of these things, But since the first lap today, I felt comfortable, and I was like, I got a bit of rear grip, and I felt good. So I've always felt good around here, and it's always good to do it. So good to start the weekend with a pole.
Let's talk about the lap a little bit, because we heard a lot of drivers talking about tire temperatures. How difficult was it to kind of control them, get them prepped in the right way, and then keep the tires alive over the whole lap?
It was pretty tough. My Q2 was pretty woeful. I was like 1 second off, so it didn't fill me with confidence into the final run, and I was debating whether we do 1 lap, 2 laps. Will pushed me and said, Lando, we're doing 1 lap, and it paid off, So there's been good work from the whole team. We got everything in a good window straight away, so I'm very proud of them. But the lap was good. It was good apart from one corner, 16 onto the back straight. Completely missed it. Just didn't want to get it today. So difficult conditions also with the wind. The wind can play a big effect, So I'm just happy. I'm happy to be back here. It's been a little while, So just a perfect way for me to start the weekend too.
We've had success here in the past. Continuing. Best of luck tomorrow.
Will do. Cheers.
And a big session there in the.
That was a very big session. As a bit of a wow, I actually got scared then. This was shocking. I'm ahead to bed. It's 11:30. Nice to see you again. Okay, see you again. See you soon, mate. See you soon. Thank you, Bellu, for joining the stream. Showing support. There is Dario now handing out the Pirelli Pole Award for what will be hopefully not the last time this year for Lando Norris, but another pole position bagged in a very nice style from Lando Norris. But yeah, let's take a look at now what the rest of the weekend will look like. Sprint race, of course, tomorrow early from about 9 a.m. Then, of course, the F2 sprint race as well, followed by all of the GT World Challenge action. Of course, the Porsche Sprint Michelin Challenge action from Phillip Island as well. So it should be fun there. And, of course, the qualifying session, of course, straight after that. And, of course, the race from 3:30 on Monday. That's, of course, if it goes ahead. If it does go ahead, though, it'll be a very interesting one. The sprint, of course, tomorrow from 8:30 tomorrow morning. Then, of course, preceded by F2. Then GT World Challenge Australia. Then Porsche Michelin GT3 Cup Challenge out on track after that. But yeah, rounding up for the rest of the day, we have GT World Challenge Australia, Porsches, and Australian F4 all still to come. So it's a bit of a mix. It's going to be exciting. Catch you then. Bye-bye.